Hello everyone, welcome back. So this is going to be the last tutorial here for the Bounding Souls route for Specter of Torment any percent. And this stage is pretty short, however there's some considerably difficult tricks you have to land and some run killers here. We'll be covering this small trick that we use to get into the top right corner. This is just to make this room a lot easier to deal with. It also lets you get out of the room a little more quickly because you can just damage boost to get out of here. And once you get comfortable with the Enchantress fight, the damage is really not going to be something worth worrying about. This is the Hand Touch 2.0, which that was essentially found by SpeedFrog. He found multiple ways of doing it, and since we have access to rail mail, we have the easiest way of doing it in the run. Some other small things you may have noticed on this elevator and on the previous one. I actually jumped a little early, and I'll go over some visual cues of when you can jump and start your grind so that you can save as much time as possible. The Enchantress fight is kind of easy, but it's really up to chance. The beginning is a little difficult. Launching the Volley of Souls is not, and then her dives are random, so how you decide to handle her after the beginning of the fight is kind of where your big amounts of time lost are going to be. You'll either have done enough damage to her that she's under 4 health, which to me that's the safe amount to chase her under the floor, or you won't and you'll have to deal with the rest of her once she comes back out from under the floor. Now believe me, I tried many times to get a good Nightmare Reese fight. The kill on him? Consistent. The rails are random every single time. So this is not exactly the best kill, and I will go over what looks ideal to me. However, while recording, and I did spend about an hour grinding out Nightmare Reese, I just couldn't get a kill that was like completely flawless, supremely textbook. But this, however, does get the quick kill on him. So you have to find a way to set this up, you have to find a way to adjust to whatever patterns you get and make this kill happen. Now again, getting to the top right, I've already covered this, so this doesn't really need to be explained, but when you get to the top of the first elevator, one set of bricks to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and then the next set of bricks behind you need to jump so that it starts flying at a slightly more upward angle. You can dash attack and chase it to the top right corner of the screen, and then this is where you can just chill, and every now and then you can just jump over a couple bricks. Try to get Specter to face the left whenever you can. Now, when the last set of bricks, basically the ones underneath your feet, are about to come out, just sit there and take the hit. Now this is where we begin setting up for the Hand Touch 2.0. You take the hit and then you just drop down and leave the room. Your invincibility will allow you to pass through the bricks as they fly out. Once you've entered the second room, you're going to turn back around immediately and jump back into the first room. You're going to be landing on the bricks that if you left the first room quickly enough the first time, they will actually be reset in their original position. Turn around, immediately start grinding back into the second room. Now as you re-enter the second room, the tricky part here is that you need to jump when the transition finishes. You can buffer this input. So just as the transition finishes, you jump, and you should jump basically off of seemingly nothing, and you'll be able to grab the side of this elevator. Now because you need to do 3 screen transitions to set this up, unfortunately it's going to save you only 1 second. So if you're not comfortable with this trick, don't worry about it, just find an optimal way to navigate through the room. Again, that requires practice, getting comfortable with what the room's going to look like. But this trick is not terribly difficult, it's just buffering that jump. That's the part that'll tend to get you, and if you miss that jump, you can just exit and re-enter the room the same way you did the first time and try it again. Now as we're riding up on this second elevator, I'm actually going to jump before it reaches the top, start a grind. I'm going to jump at the earliest possible moment. You can adjust yourself, get used to this practice and jump earlier, but the risk versus reward here is you die if you jump too early, so only saving about a second at most. These glass windows in the background, you have to wait for the elevator platform to have cleared the top of them. You can actually see me lining myself up right now. I'm on the left side so that when I jump I can actually have a little bit of time to react. I'll start my grind on this platform once the elevator platform passes the top of those windows, and do as big of a jump as I can, basically riding into the abyss. Now the nice part about this trick is that if you remember the Skeletal Sentry route where we didn't have rail mail, at least you only have to worry about landing on those bricks because they're actually spaced. They're spaced in such a way that like you just grind over them naturally. The speed at which you ride over them allows you to not have to worry about timing any jumps. Now the third elevator, very similar to the second one, there is a visual cue that I have. There are 6 lanterns in the background, or the candles in the background. After the 6th one is when you can jump and again attempt to grind early. And for this one, you're just waiting for the lanterns to no longer be visible. Once they disappear is when you jump and grind. So let's talk about Enchantress. With Bounding Soul, it's very easy to kill her quickly. However, the beginning and the majority of the fight, tricky and a little bit up to luck. Now at the beginning of this fight, this is the optimal start. You have to start by mashing out a grind as quickly as you possibly can. And then as you approach her, you need to land in front of her and attack her first fireball so that you clear it as you hit her. Alternatively, what you're trying to do is you're basically trying to hit her while she's launching that first one so that you have enough time to hit her twice, jump, and then do a short dash attack. So you can damage boost off the first fireball and wait for her to launch her second volley before you start attacking her. If you really wanted to do that, and again, that's just going to drop you a heart and a half total, so you're still plenty safe. So you can see that from the recoil of the dash attack, I was trying to land just left of this pillar in the background, and then I'm mashing my Bounding Souls to get all 4 of them out as quickly as possible. They're all going to bounce in such a way that they all start ricocheting through her and then back, and then she'll dive straight through a couple of them as well. So all of that is all that's consistent. At this point, her dives will be extremely random. She may not dive in a direction that will actually make her pass through all of those souls, which is unfortunate. You want to try and hit her as much as you can while she's flying around. This was a particularly lucky version of her dives, and again, her dives completely random. The angle, the direction. But ultimately, you want her to have less than 4 full hearts of HP. Now, before you do this Judgment Rush, you want to make sure she stops moving a little bit, because you can Judgment Rush and then end up not hitting her with the Judgment Rush. That's a full heart of damage that you're missing out on. This is important because you don't have a lot of time underneath the floor here. After you start attacking her, she'll actually basically start coming up as soon as possible. So if you don't kill her after you rush, launch a soul, and then start dashing attack, you see how she starts to move away right now. I actually managed to kill her with this dash attack. If I didn't, then I'm basically going to have to rely that she dies from the Bounding Soul behind her, that I can get enough attacks on her, because she's going to start diving again. Very likely she can run into you, and because of how low you are and so close to the death plane, you'll recover too late from the hit animation and you'll fall to your death. So here's your fight again at full speed. Again, this is a pretty random fight partway through. You're going to open up again with your quick grind, 1, 2, bounce, launch your 4 souls, and then you're trying to get as many hits on her as you can. I managed to bring her down pretty low. Judgment Rush after she stops moving, launch a soul, and then just bounce on her until she dies. Either she'll die or you'll die. If you didn't kill her underneath the floor, then you're going to have to wait for her to come back up if you decided to be safe, and killing her up, it's just a matter of, like, you know, doing whatever you can to damage her. Bounding Souls will never have a really proper angle. But now that we're here on Nightmare Rees, I'm going to show off what that first attempt looked like. I cut to the successful attempt before, and that's because this attempt actually was really, really good until the very end, so I couldn't really use it. So as you approach Nightmare Rees, once you get close to the middle of the screen, you're going to you have the option to jump and launch a soul from here. Patois, the other competitive record holder that I've been trading back and forth with, he actually likes to skip the first 2 phases, whereas I like to skip the second and third phase. So what I'm teaching here is the way I like to do it. But yeah, once I get closer toward the middle of the screen, I launch a soul, and what I am then hoping for, and this may not even hit because of the way rails are just completely random, I'm hoping that I will be able to move up towards Rees' face, and I want to deal 3 hits to Rees. 3 hits will force him to flee the scene. That soul is at an angle that it'll hit him on the way back. I want to do no more than 6 hits to him. So what I'm trying to do is I'm hoping for a rail that's closer to his face so I can just grind instead of doing this dash attack. Had to do a dash attack so that I could stay up here. So he got hit once by my dash attack and once by the soul. Now I want to try and ride this rail here so I can just get a couple of free hits in on him. I missed the first attack, but as I approach him, I managed to hit him. That 3rd hit triggers him running to the back. So I got 2 hits on him. If I can get 1 more hit, nice. Okay, so yeah, I'm at 2.5 hearts missing off of Rees. This is great. This is really, really ideal. You may not always get this, but I don't want to pass more than 6 hits. So if I had managed to get another hit on him, I wouldn't actually hit him at this point. As he's rearing to do a lunging attack at me, he is missing 2.5, so I will hit him once while he tries to pass through me. Patois, who would try to be skipping the first and second phases, would have launched enough souls so that he could push past this at the same time and basically skip this phase altogether. But I feel like by doing the kill in this order, skipping the second and third phases, I have a little more time to feel out how the rails are treating me and adjust accordingly. So he took 6 damage. Now on this first jump to clear this pass, I'm going to launch 3 souls, try to get a 4th one by doing a quick hop and another soul launch. So you basically have 1 soul to lead and then a small death ball with 3 in it. My goal is to try and push Reese under 5 full health. So I don't want to dash attack him yet, the next one will trigger his attack. I'm waiting for this first soul to hit, and then as it's hitting, I'm doing my dash attack, and he's running back. Those 3 souls will follow up behind and push him just underneath 5 full hearts. So he has 4.5, which means I skipped 1 phase where he's going to be constantly tossing giant fireballs at you. This also skips him rearing back twice. Instead, he'll just combine both of the rearing back at once. So at that point, if you manage to do this correctly, you're going to be stuck at the back of the screen. The screen's going to be swooshing really hard forward. Like, you're going to swoosh like you've never swooshed before. Reese will launch a volley of finger lasers, and then you'll finally start to gain some speed. This next volley could hit you. If that's the case, make sure you either jump over it or you cut through it. You can always disperse the flames with a scythe attack. But coming up, he's going to do another pair of finger lasers. So once you clear the first jump, he should be, he's moving into place right now. You're trying to get toward about the center of the screen before you launch your next set of bounding souls. You could fire 3 of them, however, because of the way the rail RNG works, you may not do enough damage to Reese to push him into the last set of souls. So I like to get pretty close to him. Sometimes you're going to use these souls to block the finger lasers, but these rails were awfully high, so 420 rails. I guess I didn't have to worry about that this time. Launch 2 souls. I start doing dash attacks. I want to trigger him to get below 3 full health. This will cause him to start rearing back. So after the first dash attack, I launch a soul so that it hits him and forces him to 3 health. He's at 3 full health. I see that the rails are actually cooperating. I attempt to land on the rails so that I can grind and chase after him. But unfortunately, I got a dash attack, and the reason why this is absolutely terrible is because you need him to have at most a heart and a half, not 2 full hearts. You can't kill him before he does his final rails, which would save a ton of time if you can get that. So we're going to look at the ideal Reese, at least up to that last hit, just so that we understand what we're trying to get. Launch a soul, attempt to try and push him to 3 health missing. Trying to grind so you can get more grounded slashes at him. I pushed him to 3 full hearts missing. Launch my 3 souls to try and skip the second and third phase. Successful. That's always dependent on rails and the angle that you're getting to attack him at. Launch 2 souls, not successful in landing on the rail. Unfortunately, too many dash attacks. So we're going to look at the more optimal finish now. So you're going to see I got a bit more of a jank start this time. It wasn't quite how I hoped. However, sometimes you can still save it. It'll still work out for you. Here I am launching the soul this time. The rail's not looking too good. I still was able to eventually land next to his face and get a couple cuts in. My soul did eventually hit, thankfully. However, you can see he has an extra health compared to the more optimal ones. I was hoping to get a double hit there. It didn't work out for me. So he is 1 hit shy of 3 full hearts missing. So this time, as I tried to skip the second and third phase, and I accidentally fell down, but that's okay because I needed to get an extra attack in on him anyway. It still managed to somehow skip the second and third phase by squishing them together. So now here he is. He's on his last 2 phases here. I want to bring him down low enough that I can essentially skip the final phase. Launch my 2 souls as I jump upwards, do a dash attack, drop a soul, do some more dash attacks. But this time I landed on the rail, so I actually did a lot of damage. You can see he only has a full heart left. You only need a heart and a half to do this. But as he's approaching at the very end, you can launch 2 souls. You should always have enough mana to launch 2 souls. But you only need 1 since he only has a full heart right now. You're going to jump, drop a soul. You could fire 2 souls at this point. And then as you land, do a slash. And that should finish him off. You'll either land on the rail and then reflect them back up towards him, or you'll do that dash attack and you'll still manage to hit him and deal the damage to him that you need to. So again, not the prettiest looking kill, but it's the one that'll do. Rails are always going to kind of mess with you. I miss with the soul, try and push him down to 2.5 missing. Didn't get it, so he's at 2.5 now, which is one shy of where I'd like to be. Launch my souls, I accidentally fell, dash attack to get back up here, and then the other souls happened to line up as I did my next dash attack to skip the second and third phase, which is what I'm looking for. Get really, really close to him, 2 souls, dash attack, soul, and then attempt to land on the rail so you can chase him down with some grounded slashes, and finish him with a soul and dash attack. This kill it's so frustrating to go for, because literally you can keep attempting and rails will just always be there to try and remind you that, hey, you have no control over whether or not you're going to be able to successfully perform this kill without losing time. So that's about all I have to say. This guide series is, I can't say how long it will be completely optimal, or at least pretty optimal. Right now, my current sum of best is about a 37.15, and I have a potential to gold a little bit more to get a very low 37. I feel like a sub 36 sum of best is within my grasp. That said, that's going to be extremely difficult. But yeah, these strats are definitely super strong right now. I encourage learning them to the best of your ability. Learn backup, learn safety, learn whatever it is you need to learn to be able to finish runs. And as far as like doing runs goes, I encourage you, like, learn the basic route, get in there. It's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to die, it's okay to be safe. Sometimes going slow is faster, you know? If you have any other questions that you wanted to ask about speedrunning Specter of Torment, there's a Discord, the Spade Brigade, which is pretty much dedicated to speedrunning Shovel Knight, all of its categories, all of its characters. Come in. It's welcome to everyone. We would very much love to help anyone out. That said, I do want to spend a moment to shout out all of the spooky boys, all of the runners who have a time of under 50 minutes for Specter Night. So that's the Engage, Amps, Animated Branch, Applesauc, Onel, Benji Boy, BreadPan, Buster, Kenny, ericDLC, Fortuity Steelheart, who also has a very excellent time and achieved the rank of Lich Lord in the server, JC87, Mr. Metalhead, Munchakoopas, NotSoNewby, Oddbod, Pikapete, SpeedFrog, Wiglink, BrassWolf, King Captain, West Beardtooth, Zhank, MC Peanuts, David TKI, who has a respectable time and also achieved Lich Lord, Tolu, and Patois, who always competes with me for world record of any percent, and currently has the New Game Plus world record. Extra shoutouts to Flighterv, who made the S-Trainer program. It's an incredibly useful tool for people who have access to it, for PC runners who have the Steam build of Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Zelwrig, who constantly finds different and very optimal strategies all over the place for every single character. He's obsessed with saving every single frame. God bless him. We have some modders like Devil Squirrel, Mr. Gentle, Suzuka, who looked into the game's files and helped develop an auto splitter and are constantly finding interesting ways to break the game. And lastly, a shout out to Yacht Club Games. Thank you so much for making a wonderful video game, super fun to play. Enjoy the rest of the credits. Thank you for watching this guide series. If it helped you out, let me know. Let me know on anything that I can do to improve on making these guides better. Always remember to stay spooky, and I will see you next time, hopefully with more guides and tutorials.